Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time to talk about one of my most anticipated films of the year. It's due for release in August. It's directed by Fede Alvarez and it's going to be a new addition to the Alien franchise called Alien Romulus. And I'm pretty excited about this. I'm pretty stoked. I think Fede Alvarez has done two, very solid horror films in Don't Breathe and Evil Dead from 2013. So I have every faith we might get ourselves at least a decent addition to the Alien franchise here, which is somewhat a well-worn franchise by this point. We know what to expect most of the way, but I think there are ways of still making this film good. I think there are ways of still bringing back the spirit of the old films, but perhaps also bringing some fresher flavours in, some new ideas, without rerunning over too much already trodden ground. So this is what I'm going to be talking about here, 5 things that I really would like to see, 5 things I want to see actually in this new Alien film that are somewhat going back to basics, but also I think that might get us a great addition even to this Alien franchise. So the first thing I would like to see is the chestburster scenes being made a bit more realistic and convincing again. I think they've been far too throwaway in recent Alien films, in Covenant, in the AVP movies. These chestburster scenes have just become so predictable and dull and worn out that they need to be made great again. We need better chestburster scenes. I think the ways of doing that might be, a bit more suspense, or even a little bit of an element of not making them too predictable. And they should be painful to watch, these scenes. You should be made to feel the agony that someone is going through, like John Hurt managed to do in the first film. I mean, no one can ever repeat John Hurt's performances, right, necessarily, but, just being convincing about it, making it seem convincing that, that's an incredibly, you're getting a monster burst out of your chest, for goodness sake, it's going to really hurt like hell. That should be convincing. It shouldn't be throwaway. It shouldn't be done casually. It shouldn't be just happening to people every 5 minutes in the film. It should be made to count. And for me, that has been lost in a lot of the recent Alien films. So the first thing for me I'd like to see brought in is just, if there's going to be chestburster scenes, make them convincing, make them look painful, make them look, just like they should. They should not be casual throwaway scenes. Next, I'd like to see, as my second thing, more intensity in these movies. A claustrophobic atmosphere, maybe. Just something that brings back the intensity of those earlier films. Maybe somewhat dark, having an modern element maybe, or something. I know this film is set between Alien and Aliens, so, but maybe having something that just brings back a level of intensity. And that's going to be things like build-up. It's going to be things like camera work and the way the film's shot. And maybe some music that's good. Just bring back that intensity to these films that's been missing for me again in more recent Alien movies. The third thing I'd like to see is more colourful characters. That's not necessarily meaning I want to see a rehash of the characters of Aliens or Alien again. I want to see new characters, but I want to see them, good acting, good performances, but, just fresh personalities, maybe personalities of the like we haven't seen before. For me, Fede Alvarez and films I've seen him do, he tends to bring characters in that have dark sides or redemption arcs to them somewhat, I think. And so I can see one of his characters, or the main character, maybe having some sort of either redemption arc or a dark side to them, which I think could work well with the Alien films, with this particular film. So it will be interesting to see what he does with his characters in this movie and how they turn out. But I'd like to see characters with some personalities again in our Alien movies. Next up, I can see this film maybe looking a little bit like the earlier movies did, but I would still like to see something a little bit fresh in the scenery maybe, or the setting. This is going to be hard to do because we've seen scenes, in ventilation shafts, in sewers, in elevators. A lot of ground has already been covered in the Alien film, so it's hard to necessarily think of a brand new fresh setting for one of these films. We've had spaceships, had stuff in space. It's hard to think of anything that would necessarily be brand new. But I just think it might help the film if it visually looks maybe a little bit distinctive, whilst, as I say, it's still capturing the atmosphere and the spirit of those earlier films. So I think some newer scenery is what I'm trying to get at here. That's the fourth thing I would quite like to see in Alien Romulus. Now, the final and fifth thing that I would like to see in this Alien Romulus movie is just some memorable action sequences. All right, some really well filmed, done, some really memorable action sequences that just maybe have something that you're going to go out of the film with and you're going to think, wow, what a scene that was. So just to bring some examples of these, obviously Aliens is riddled with memorable action sequences. You know, the retreating through the tunnels with the machine guns going off, the Hudson scenes, the Vasquez stuff from the second film. From Alien Resurrection, the amazing underwater scene, which stood out above everything else so much in that film. It's such an incredible sequence from Alien Resurrection. Even Alien 3, with some of its sort of trying to outwit the aliens in the tunnels and corridors of that film, was pretty cool, even though I know a lot of people hate Alien 3. I kind of like it, just don't like the way it starts. What I'm saying is, I think we need some memorable action sequences in these movies again. And sure, I can't necessarily think of a way of doing that, but there must be a way to make some great action sequences again. I'm sure that Fede Alvarez has maybe come up with some unique ways of doing that for a new movie. Anyway, those are the 5 things I want to see in the new Alien film. Do let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in Alien Romulus. I'd be really interested to hear from you. What would you like to see in this film? How do you think it could be both capturing that spirit of the old films but bringing something distinctive about it as well? I don't think it should just be a complete rehash of the first or second film. I always think you're going to fail if you try and completely repeat everything from an original movie. So anyway, for me, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub. Until next time, from me, bye for now.